In this video, we'll take a look at how to install and use my custom Corel Painter workspace. First, you'll need to go to my website, aaronrutten.com, and download the workspace. While you're here, you can make a one-time donation via PayPal or a recurring donation through Patreon if you want to help support my work. Save this file to your desktop so that you'll be able to find it easily. Once the file's downloaded, you can right-click on it and choose Extract All, or you can double-click on it to extract it. Once you've extracted that file, you'll have two files within a folder. One is the installation instructions, and the other is the workspace file. Now, do not double-click on this file. You have to import it manually in Painter. Now, before you import my workspace, you'll want to back up your current workspace. That way you can save all of your brushes and features because they're going to get replaced when you add in my workspace. So go to Window Workspace, Export Workspace. Give your workspace a name and save it somewhere where you'll be able to find it, like the desktop. And then when you're ready to import my workspace, which will replace your current workspace, go to Window, Workspace, Import Workspace. And then you'll select the workspace file and click Open. And then after a few seconds, the workspace should be loaded into Painter. Now, I've tried to make this easy to fit on all screens, so I've condensed things down a little bit, but if you have a bigger screen, you can feel free to move things wherever you want them. You can move these palettes by dragging on the top dark gray bar. You can expand a panel by double-clicking on the tab. So for instance, the nozzle libraries is condensed. You'll have to drag these three little dots down at the bottom to expand the window to be able to see its contents. Same goes for the particle brushes. You'll have to expand that window as well to see all the brushes. Now, if you accidentally close any of these palettes, you can get back to them through the window menu. All of the palettes are hiding here in this menu. If we look over here, there are some condensed palettes for Image Hose Maker, Water and Ink, Brush Calibration, Stroke Attributes, Reference Image, and so on. So let's take a look at everything that's going on here. First of all, at the top, I have these commonly used shortcuts. If you hover over the shortcut, you'll get to see what it does. There's shortcuts for copying and pasting, transforming, dealing with layers, aligning layers. You can turn the mirror painting and perspective guides on and off, and zoom. There are, of course, the nozzle libraries and particle brushes. These are custom brushes that I made. There's the layers palette and the layout grid. There's color variability and color expression, a 9-step value scale, stroke attributes and smoothing. If you have kind of a jittery, wobbly hand and you want to smooth out your brush strokes, you can add damping to smooth them out. There's the reference image palette and underpainting. Over here I have my brushes for rendering. These add paint. My blending brushes blend paint. I have water and ink brushes because those use special layer types. The Image Hose brushes control how an Image Hose nozzle sprays out. And this is a very commonly asked question: how do you use the Image Hose nozzle brushes? You have to do two things. You have to select the nozzle, which is what's going to come out of the brush. So for instance, I'll pick this branch, and then when you pick a brush here, it suggests which brush you should use with it. So linear size P angle D is the option here. So we'll go over to linear size P angle D in the Image Hose brushes, because you have to select both of these brushes at the same time for this to work. That's because these brushes control how the image is going to come out of the brush, and we want this one to flow out like this and follow the direction of the brush. So angle D means that the angle is going to be controlled by the direction. Linear size P means that it's going to come out in a linear fashion, and the size is going to be controlled by the pressure. So if I press lightly, I get small branches, and if I press hard, I get big, thick branches. If I choose something like linear size P without the angle D, then I get something like this that just doesn't look right. So you always have to use the right brush. You have to select the nozzle that you want, and then you have to select the Image Hose brush to paint with. Let's take a look at how to use the particle brushes. I'm going to select the plant brush, for example. A lot of these brushes use two different colors, the additional color and the main color. So if I select blue for the main color and pink for the additional color, and I paint a stroke, you can see that it has both of those colors in it. Now what's important is that if you've clicked on the additional color last, it's going to stay there. So if I pick a different brush that does not use the additional color, and I pick green and I start painting, why am I getting blue if I just picked green? Well, that's because I'm still selecting the additional color, which this brush does not use. So I have to click back on the main color and then select green, and everything will be working fine. We can add color to the Image Hose brushes as well. Let's pick one like this Leaf Clumps brush. The way that you do that is you use these color versions of these brushes. So The linear size P color brush will add color, and you can tell that it's a color brush because it has the little black and white dots on the icon. So I'm going to click on that brush, and then I also have to select my additional color here to add the color. So I'm going to pick kind of a dark green. If I paint with that brush, I get green. If I pick blue, I'll get blue. Now some of these brushes you have to tint manually because it gives you a better effect. So I'm going to select this bark brush. I'm going to select just the regular linear size P brush without the color, and I'm going to paint a little bit on a new layer. That creates the bark. Then I'm going to choose select layer content to put a selection around that layer, create a new layer for the tinting, and set that to multiply for the composite method. Then I'm going to select a brown color. Now I want to make sure that I'm using my main color, so I'll have to switch that back to brown color. I'm going to select the airbrush and paint, and I can manually tint this, which gives a slightly better result than if I use this same brush with the tinting that's added automatically. You don't get quite the same result. Now, if you're donating to me on Patreon and you're part of my VIP program, then you're getting 2 new Imagehost brushes every month before anyone else does. So this means that when I release new brushes, you'll have to install them manually into your workspace. So to do that, there's some shortcuts here under Imagehost Maker. The first thing that you'll do is you'll click on Load Nozzle, and you'll select the particular nozzle that you want to add to your collection. You'll click on Open, and then you'll be able to paint with that nozzle, but to add it to your library, you'll have to click on Add Nozzle to Library. Once you do that, it'll be added to your library. It may come in at the bottom of the list, and you might have to move it into place where you want it, but then it'll be there. And the good news is you don't have to add these manually if you don't want to. You can just wait till I release the newest version of my workspace, and I'll have them added in there for you. I've created a few keyboard shortcuts to make things faster. Control T will open up free transform if you want to transform something, and Shift F5 will fill. Those are both shortcuts that are in Photoshop, so I just found it easier to have the same shortcuts for both programs. If you hit P on your keyboard, you'll turn on perspective guides and then turn them off. You can toggle between the 3 modes. If you hit Shift P, you can turn perspective drawing on and off. So for instance, right now, I have it turned off and I can draw freeform, but if I hit Shift P, then everything will be locked into those perspective guides. Shift P again unlocks it. Now if you have your own custom workspace and you just want to take parts of my workspace and move them into yours, like for instance these nozzle brushes, the particle brushes, or some of these palettes, I have a video you can watch on how to do that. So there you go. I hope that answers some of your questions about how to install and use my custom workspace. I hope you enjoy all of the customization and features that I've added. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.